Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Campo. The other two aren't here today. Campo, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. A nice tight win to see us off to the World Cup. So we move forward.
Well, I can't say the same, but I'm liking the house room at the moment. Doesn't look like a green screen at all.
You can see half my face missing.
Look, before we get into the games, though, it's a pretty crazy match week. But before we get into that, the biggest bombshell that dropped over the weekend, just after the United game, Ronaldo's interview with Piers Morgan. Talk to me, Campo. What are your thoughts on it? It's pretty big news.
It just, for me, it seems like he's trying to force his way out of the club. He's doing something to get his contract torn up. He doesn't want to be there. They don't want him there. They're not playing him. Just do the man a favor and tear up his contract.
Yeah, I mean that's the simple way of putting it, isn't it? Like he clearly doesn't want to be there. He tried to force a move out in the summer window, didn't happen. Ten Hag's come in, clearly doesn't fit his style of play, doesn't work hard enough for him, and he's I guess throwing his toys out of the pram and kind of just said, "Yep, that's enough for me." I mean, I think it was earlier in the season he came out and said that he had some sort of interview or he was going to do some sort of post announcing everything that's gone wrong. So I don't know if this is it or if this is just another one of his things. But yeah, it's pretty hard hitting. And I think you just spot on there. I think he just wants out. But the problem is, where's he going? What are your thoughts? Where do you see him going? Who wants him?
No one wants him. That's the issue because to leave a club like that, publicly shame them, it's a lot of balls for another club to take that on, especially a European giant. So I don't know where he goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Where does he go? I mean, for me, before I say my piece, I'll say what I assume Tony would say, and I think what he kind of mentioned in the group was, he's not here, but he would say the fact that Sir Alex came out and said years ago, no player is bigger than the club. Once they get to that point, time to go. But yeah, Ronaldo clearly is not happy, wants to go. He will go. I can't see him playing another minute for Manchester United, wearing that jersey ever again. Would I say he's tarnished his legacy? Not particularly. I think people will still respect what he did for the club, but he's done himself no favours, especially this season. But I think for him, in order to get a move, I don't know who wants him, but in order to get a move, he needs to have the best World Cup of his life and show he's basically in the shop window now. He needs to show that I might be 37, but this is what I'm still capable of. Look, I know Chelsea wanted him. I know Todd Bowley was a big advocate. He wanted the superstar name at the club. I think if it wasn't for Tuchel, we might have had him. That's a big reason why Tuchel got fired. Apparently, Potter doesn't want him either, which I'm not surprised. Attitude does stink. Doesn't fit many teams' style of play. But Todd Bowley clearly wants him as that superstar. But apart from that, yeah, I don't know where he goes. Is it time to just pack up and go to the MLS? What do you think about that? Is it MLS time?
No, because he knows Messi's catching his Champions League record, so he wants to stay in Europe.
Yeah, I mean the biggest rumor, I suppose, was Napoli, wasn't it? They were after him. Well, they were linked to him, but they definitely don't need him now. They're running away with Serie A. They're looking good in the Champions League. They're at their best right now, so there's no need to disrupt that team. They wouldn't get him. As I said, apart from Chelsea, who I don't think will get him, I don't think he'll come to us. I just don't know where he's going to go. So who knows what's going to
wait and see.
Yeah, but I mean, back to the interview. I mean, it's not a good look. It's not professional. But he's clearly trying to force a way out, and I think at this point, United can't do any worse than just terminate his contract and let him run free, and he can make his mind up from there.
The thing that annoys me about that interview is that United fans are saying it's either the only thing they like is him criticizing their owners.
Yeah.
But then when he takes aim at Ten Hag for not respecting him, they're like, "You've crossed the line. You've crossed the line." It's just stupid. United fans, they're just driving me nuts. Either the whole interview is shit and it shouldn't have happened, or let the whole thing in.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think there's probably some truth to what he said. I mean, the things about how nothing's changed in the 20 years or whatever, 15 years since he was last there, maybe that's true. But yeah, the second he starts going in on the manager who has the fans backing, I think I suppose that's where it's crossed the line. But you're right, the whole interview shouldn't have happened. It's very similar to the Lukaku one, but probably 10 times worse. But what can you do? As I said, I think it just at this point, huge World Cup for him needs to happen. He needs to bag, a fair few goals, needs to carry Portugal as far as he can, and hopefully then get himself out there. But real quick to finish off, did you see? I mean, I sent it to you guys the Bruno Fernandes handshake snub at the Portugal.
It's
I
just
mean,
awkward.
I don't know. Is it going to affect his Portugal performance now? Is Bruno pissed off with him now? Like he's the captain of Portugal.
I don't think. I don't know. They need to get on the same page if they have any chance of winning.
Yeah, 100%. Real quick, then, how far do you think Portugal go then at this point in the World Cup?
Quarters.
All right. Well, look, let's get into the Premier League. That's what we're here to talk about. Another big topic. City's lost to Brentford at home. Haaland, no goals. Ivan Toney, who was snubbed of a World Cup call-up, bagged to double against the champions. What are your thoughts?
Maybe City could use Ronaldo as a backup striker. But again, Brentford deserved their lead. But then City started to mount pressure. And that technique from Foden, that was outrageous, that finish. And then you think City's going to run away with it. They probably should have won with the chances they had. But in the 96th minute, a counter-attack, and Toney scores again, and Brentford take all 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, for Toney here, like he could do no wrong. It was a massive statement to Gareth Southgate. How do you drop me? I think he scored the most behind Kane out of any English footballer or something in the past 2 seasons or whatever the stats are. But look, I'm not against Callum Wilson going to the World Cup. He had a good start to the year, but over Ivan Toney, I can't fathom it. You got to feel for the guy, and hopefully he continues the rest of the season, bangs them in, because I mean he's that quality striker. And then I think this will probably be his last season at Brentford. I assume a bigger club will pick him up.
You'd think so, but I don't see why they couldn't have taken Toney and not taken someone like Conor Gallagher. Like, realistically,
I'm with you. I think I'm a Chelsea fan, but I don't think Gallagher, based off this season's performances, should be going to the World Cup. There's players like James Ward-Prowse. I mean, Calvin Phillips as well should not be going at all. But yeah, you're right. I mean, do they need another striker? Probably not. But the fact that Ivan Toney's just not going is it's a farce. But look, at Chelsea, I'd take Ivan Toney in a heartbeat next year. So could happen. Who knows? But yeah, you got to feel for Ivan Toney. Hopefully he carries on. But this game, I mean, he, as you said, wins the game against the champions. City slip up again. How much of this result, how important is it to City's title run? They're now 5 points behind Arsenal.
The only thing that is in City's favour is that they still play Arsenal twice.
Yeah.
So it's still in their hands if they want the title.
Yeah, spot on. I think realistically the bookies' favourite is still City, and it's going to be, like I said, they've still got to play them twice. That's 6 points if they win, and that just the pendulum swings completely there. All right, let's get into a team that are they on the up? They've won 2 on the trot. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. I want to say Liverpool's hitting a groove now, but then the World Cup break just comes. So 2 on the trot, but now they're going to have to wait another month before they play. What are your thoughts on Liverpool? Are they getting their season back on track?
Yes and no. I don't know. Like, I watched that second half of that Spurs-Liverpool game, and we battered them completely all over the field. So they're still very vulnerable in the midfield. Fabinho and Thiago aren't the players they used to be. And just Van Dijk, that he got outpaced by Che Adams. That doesn't happen in previous seasons for that header. He was just not hungry for it. I just think everyone's taken their foot off the gas a little bit because they've had 3 big seasons in a row with the same group of players. It's very hard to keep doing that. So I think they're just burning out a little bit.
I mean, spot on about Fabinho. He is a shadow of his former self, that's for sure. I mean, he was getting touted as, the best CDM in the comp, and then all of a sudden the performance he's putting up this year aren't good enough. Thiago, as good a player as he is, I don't think has ever hit his heights at Liverpool. And I mean, for them to really push on, he needs to. And this is one of those seasons that if him and Fabinho aren't linking up, Jordan Henderson obviously as well, it does come down to the midfield. They're having to play Curtis Jones. Harvey Elliott's getting more game time than ever. He's decent young talent. I don't think he's capable of leading a Liverpool midfield. So they're doing okay, but I think it's going to be one of those seasons where it will be 2 wins and then possibly a loss and a draw and then another couple of wins. I don't think it's going to be consistency from now on in. I think they're going to just hover around. I mean, they're not in the worst spot. They're, 4 points off United in 5th, so it does sound pretty grim, but they'll be thereabouts. I think they'll be European football. They'll be fighting for it for sure, but I don't know. I mean, they're not going any further than fourth, in my opinion. Now Southampton, we know they sacked Ralph. This was Nathan Jones's first game in charge. I think that second half was quite impressive, but again, it was very much like Southampton under Ralph. They just don't finish their chances. Che Adams has chance after chance, and that's the downfall. They're in the relegation scrap now, and until they sign someone who can finish, because Allison had a bloody wonder game, they're gonna be in relegation battle. What do you think?
I think, yeah, January is so important for Southampton. They need to find a target man or an actual finisher who's not going to waste 10 chances a game. And until that happens, I think they're in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they have 5 shots on target. I mean, they should be scoring 1 or 2, especially the chances they had. So that's probably Ralph's undoing, was the fact that his finishers couldn't finish, and could be the same way for Nathan Jones. But fans seem to be pretty happy with him, the football he's playing. But again, that's how Ralph started out too. So team like Southampton, they need to pick up points because, like I said, they're into 19th now, and they've got to pick up points fast. All right, let's get into another team who's back on the decline after a decent start. Everton, 3-0 defeat to Bournemouth. Just days after their, 4-1 defeat to Bournemouth in the Cup. So twice in a matter of days they get smashed by Bournemouth. What are your thoughts on Everton? How long's Lampard lasting? Yeah.
I think Lampard's got this season because of how he pulled them out of the mud last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll have the backing just for this season. But again, it's just, I think Bournemouth are just a decent Premier League side this season. I think no one gave them credit. Their last year's, who was it last year? That Brentford? No. Who was it a couple of seasons ago? Everyone rode off and then
Sheffield United.
Sheffield. I think that this season, Sheffield, everyone rode them off. And look at them. They're flying. They're looking real comfortable. But it's just maintaining this throughout the season.
Yeah, they definitely were the bookies' favourite to go down, that's for sure. To sit in last place, not pick up many points. And, I mean, their start was brilliant. They just had 4 losses on the trot, so not ideal, but they've bounced back now with a dominant win. And 2 wins, scoring 7 goals in a matter of days is impressive. So they need to take that and run. But as I said, like with the Liverpool, the World Cup breaks just come probably at the worst time for them. But yeah, Bournemouth, they're sitting okay in 14th. They're not doing amazing, but they're exceeding expectations. As for Everton, I think you're right about Lampard. I think he's given the season based on the fact that there's teams that are worse than him. And yes, he's in a relegation battle, but I don't think he'll really ever find himself in that relegation zone, because I do think Nottingham Forest, which we'll get into, as they're picking up results, but I still think they'll fall below Southampton possibly, and Wolves are just in the mud completely. So hopefully things turn around for Everton and for Lampard, but it could be just a long season for him and another battler season. But I think he'll be safe. Let's get into a team and a manager who could be on the way out now. Same situation as Frank Lampard. West Ham's 2-0 loss to Leicester. How long does David Moyes have in charge?
Who knows with West Ham? They like to hold on to their managers until it's looking very grim. But you just gotta give props to Leicester with their start to this season. Mm-hmm. The way they've turned it around, Maddison and Tielemans especially, they've really turned this club around, and they're looking really hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you look at a team like Leicester, and I mean everybody was calling for Brendan Rodgers to be sacked. We thought it was imminent, but he's turned around. They've trusted their manager. He's gotten some results now. It's 4 wins in 5. I think 5 clean sheets in their last 7. It's just, is it a matter of them trusting their manager? They're into 13th now after sitting rock bottom just 4 or 5 weeks ago, just a month ago.
I think it's just, I don't know what's happened, but I think Tielemans has finally clicked into gear. I think he was pretty poor to start the season. I think he didn't get the move he wanted, so he was in a bit of a mood. But I think, and Maddison, he's just on fire. And people like Harvey Barnes that are so underrated, they contribute so much to this squad, and that he's popping up with goals, so many goals this season.
Yeah, I think it was like Leicester's better seasons was when Harvey Barnes was getting involved a couple of seasons ago. So we know Vardy's on the way out, but he's still kind of thereabouts. But they need players like Harvey Barnes contributing. I think, a massive part of their season is James Maddison for sure. He was definitely adamant he was going to get a World Cup squad World Cup spot. He was dying for it. So his football has just been off the charts, proving why he should be going, and he got it. So hopefully he has a decent World Cup if he gets any game time, and then takes it again back into Leicester's season and carries them up the table. Because at this point, they're definitely on for a top half finish, and they've turned around, and it could be. I wouldn't say it's a miracle because they should be there, but it's definitely where they want to be, and it's an improvement of where they could have been. Let's now get into your boys. Crazy 4-3 thriller. You've had a lot of thrillers recently, a lot of 90-minute winners. Bentancur basically salvaging wins for you left, right, and centre. Talk to me about this result, end-to-end stuff.
I said this game was just stupid. I said that when we went 3-3. I thought this game was just bonkers. When they scored their third goal, I thought there's no way we're losing to Leeds at home. But the difference is we've got Kulusevski, Richarlison back. They make such a difference to this squad, especially Kulusevski. The runs he makes, his football IQ is at an elite level. He's just incredible. But again, if we just fix our defense, that is our same problem. Emerson starts week in, week out, and he concedes so many goals. Same as Eric Dyer. As soon as he gets called up for England, he turns to mud because he thinks he's good again. If we can just sign 2 more defenders in January, I think we're still in this title race. But if we're not going to fix our defense, we're going to concede 3 to Nottingham Forest, and we're going to be struggling to finish top 4.
Yeah, I mean, spot on. Look, what are you, 8 points behind Arsenal, but you have Arsenal in, I think, 3 or 4 games after the World Cup break, second London derby, so that'll be a huge one. Pretty clear that defensively, yeah, your weak links are definitely Emerson. I mean, Romero's been out injured for a little while, hasn't he, Christian Romero? And he's definitely your best centre-half, with Longley back from injury as well, has been a massive part of your turnarounds. But yeah, end-to-end stuff. I think with Tottenham this season, it just seems like when you go behind, you have that willpower to turn it around. Even against Liverpool, when you went down, you had chances to get that draw. I mean, you narrowly lost to them in the end. You could have salvaged a point. So that's the impressive thing for me for Spurs this year. I mean, it's happening against Bournemouth, come back for the win. This time it happened a little earlier, which is nice, probably a bit better on the heart. But yeah, it's a huge win. It feels like 6 points when you win it so late and in a thriller like that. So you're sitting right in 4th. I mean, Newcastle were just 1 point above you in 3rd, who are having a blinder of a season. But I think you've definitely got European football on the cards. You'd hope. You should kind of carry that momentum. But as I said, World Cup breaks, you never know. You don't know what's going to happen that first week back or what's going to happen from there on in. But that's for a later time. Leeds now, I think for them, I feel like they should have more points than what they do. They're on 15, only 2 points clear of Forest in 18th spot. But for me, I feel like it feels like they have 20, 25 points. It feels like some of the games they've played, the wins they've had, I mean, knocking off Liverpool. But I guess with them, their big wins were just those one-off games against Liverpool and those likes. So they're having a decent season. I think Jesse Marsch is probably safe at the helm for now as well. So yeah, that's kind of that game summed up. I think now we'll get into Forest, who I mentioned. 1-0 win over Palace. Impressive win for you. What do you think?
Yeah, if Spurs are the reason they stay up because we gave them some confidence in the Piss Cup, I'm happy for it. But we all got to remember they signed like 17 new players this window.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't gel straight away, it's acceptable. And if they're starting to gel now and they're going to start picking up points, they're going to be a real tough team to crack. Liverpool, they lost to them. They're just a very frustrating team to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. They make it hard. I think their better wins do come at home. They're 3 wins. I don't know if they've won away yet, but they've got 3 wins on the board. They're like you said, they're knocked off Liverpool at home. They've knocked off Palace at home. I can't remember who their other result was against. But yeah, they're in the relegation battle. They're going to be there all season, but it's these games that they've got to grind the result and they get the result. Palace, on the other hand, I mean, they won 2 in the trot. That you think they're about to start coming good, and then they go and lose this. They didn't register a single shot on target. So for them, this will feel like, especially for Patrick Vieira, one of those results that should be better. They should be getting at least a point, if not 3 from this game. So they'll feel like they didn't take a chance here. But for Forest, it's a good win, and it's much needed, especially going into the break. All right, now let's get into my boys. Unfortunately, Newcastle 1, Chelsea 0. I'll start us off. I think going into this game, I genuinely didn't even have any high hopes. I like to be very optimistic going into every game, but this game, I thought that the way Newcastle are playing, they're absolutely flying. I honestly didn't see us coming away with anything better than the draw. And that's the simple version of it. The more in-depth one is the fact that I don't think Newcastle played well, but they did enough. And I think Chelsea just played ridiculously bad, as we have done for God knows how long now. We've lost 3 on the trot. I think he's the first Chelsea manager to do that. Tuchel didn't even lose back-to-back games, Premier League games. Two draws after that. So we haven't won a game in God knows how long, apart from the Champions League against Zagreb, which was again a piss. It was a piss result at that point because we didn't even play well there, and we were already through. So I don't know what's going on with our season, because he started decent. But I think many other teams will say, the breaks come at the worst time. For Chelsea, for Graham Potter, it's come at the best possible time, because he needs to turn it around, and this could just be the perfect chance to do it. Reece James will hopefully come back. He'll be ready in 6 weeks' time. Ben Chilwell, unfortunately, won't be. Kante, maybe not. But Wesley Fofana, players like that, I think we need them. We need them back, and we need to start gelling and hopefully pick up some results, because the longer it goes on, the further and further away we get from European football. And I was hoping for top 4. At this point, I'm now hoping for a 5th, because United are picking up results. Newcastle look like they're going to be there all season. You guys are picking up points, and Liverpool now have started to come good. So another bad result, but praise to Newcastle. They dug deep, and as I said, I don't think they deserved. Maybe they didn't deserve the win, but at home, the crowd, the momentum, it went in their favour, and it's massive. They're on 30 points after 15 games from where they were last season, from before Eddie Howe took over. It's just phenomenal, and I've just got to give massive praise to Howe and his boys, because they're genuinely title challengers. You've got to say it. They are. If you're saying Spurs are, then they are. Like, that's just the way it is, and it's ridiculous because, it's phenomenal stuff. I'd love to see them get European football, just not at the expense of Chelsea, hopefully. Now, what are your thoughts then? Newcastle, Chelsea, and all.
I couldn't believe your lineup, that you've spent that much money and your lineup is pathetic. As bluntly as that sounds, if you're playing, you got youngsters, Broja, Gallagher, they're not first team quality yet, in my opinion. You've got Aubameyang who can flop, but come on, he has to be starting over Broja. You're not even playing Thiago Silva for a full 90 in a must-win game against Newcastle. I just think Potter, for some reason, has got this selection so wrong. Your left back, he played well in the cup, but it's a bloody cup. Cucurella, as bad as he was, just hugging Olme on the corner, he is such a better player. You spent 60 mil on him. You spent 60 mil on him. So I think this is all on Potter, this loss. This isn't on the players. I think the managers just overthought it, got it wrong, and this is the result of that.
I think a lot of pundits are saying very similar to what you just said. Like, Potter's been there for a couple of months now, 3 months or whatever it is, and he doesn't know his best lineup still. And yes, we are riddled with some pretty bad injuries, some pretty important players, that's for sure. But you should know your lineup, and I think it does. A lot of it comes down to those wing backs. I mean, it's crap that Chilwell's out injured, Reece James is out injured, but Cucurella was signed in the window, and he's a Potter player because he played for him for a number. He just got him himself, and he's not playing up to the standards that he was at Brighton. We need a backup for Reece James, because as much as I love Loftus-Cheek, I don't think he's a right wing back. I think he's a holding mid. That's it. So we don't have really backup there. Aspilicueta, he's now playing in the centre halves, but again, I don't think he's thereabouts anymore. I think he is a bench player. I think Thiago Silva, he's like 38, but he is still well and truly our best centre half. And just for me, I can't wait to have players like Wesley Fofana back, because Koulibaly, I like the signing, but hey, you said it yourself. He's not being good. He's playing like a $30 million player, not like a $80 million like he was the season before. And then moving up the pitch, Gallagher again. I like him, but I don't think he is Chelsea standard just yet. Brozier, I liked what he offered this game. I think he tried hard, and the reason he played was because Aubameyang's been so bad. But that's the reality of it. We need a striker who can score goals. I don't care. And that's why I would say give us Ronaldo, because I don't care what they say or whatever. I just want a striker that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I think that the difference between Aubameyang and Ronaldo is there's not much difference apart from Ronaldo will score more goals because their work rate's still pretty much the same. So if I could trade Aubameyang tomorrow for Ronaldo, I would in a heartbeat, because I know Ronaldo, you're going to get goals. You might not get a great attitude. You might mess up the dressing room just a little bit, but give us a year with him and then he can piss off to the MLS. But yeah, it is largely down to the lineup and Potter still just not knowing what his best 11 is. But what are your thoughts then on Newcastle?
Solid. They're just a well-drilled team. Sorry for me, daughter. They're just a very well-organized team, very drilled. Don't make many mistakes. Every player knows their role. So yeah, they full deserve where they're meant to be, where they are, and I hope they get European football too.
Do you think it happens? How far do you think they will go?
I think they will fall off eventually, because United are getting points, Tottenham are getting points, and you got to think Liverpool, they're going to make a push for top 4 too. So if they can keep up with the big boys, they deserve Champions League. But I can't see it.
All right, let's get into it. Was first v last. I know you hate to give them praise, Arsenal, but is it going to happen? Like that, it just seems like for me, it's not Leicester-esque where they were such a write-off they shouldn't have won the league, but it just feels like every week they get that result, and games they probably might have dropped points last year. They're picking up points, and they go into the World Cup break, Christmas break, I suppose you'd say, top of the table, 37 points, and now 5 points clear of City. I know you hate to give them praise, but Arsenal, I mean, talk to me about them.
They're doing well, yes, but I think the only massive challenge, like they beat us every week, every year at their home ground. The only result that has like I've gone wow has been the one they went to Stamford Bridge and won.
But again, I'm like you to not give them praise here. We were shit.
Yeah, but that's a stadium where Spurs and Arsenal rarely win at. So
yeah,
that's the result that I'm like, well, this could be a scary season for Spurs fans and or like just football fans in general that can't stand them. But I still think they're very light up top. One injury can see it all crumble down. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, yeah, I think it's spot on. Jesus has not scored recently, but he still plays a massive part in their attack. And yeah, like you said, an injury to him, they're going to have to start playing Eddie Nketiah up top, and he's not up to standard. He can't lead the title-winning line. I think players like Reece Nelson had that 1 good week, 2 good weeks, but he again is not a super sub. So they are light, they are thin. But they keep grinding results out. This for me was a 3 point. It was easy 3 points. They're versing bottom of the table who are playing disgustingly bad. Don't know what they're doing really. So for me, this wasn't the result that surprised me. But for them, it's massive to take them into the break, top of the table with 5 points to spare. But yeah, they lost against United. They did beat you guys. They did beat us. So they are 2 impressive results, especially that Stamford Bridge one, of course. But how far they go, I don't know. I just think they continue to pick up results when maybe they wouldn't last year. But for me, after the international break, I've looked at their games coming up. They've got, I believe, West Ham away, Brighton at home. So 2 games, probably 6 points there. But then they've got a run of you guys, United, and Newcastle. So that's the make or break.
No points.
Well, it could be no points. It could be 9 points. It could be 6. We don't know. But if City pick up 9 points in that same run, all of a sudden Arsenal are in second for the first time all season. City then have all the momentum and they go along and win the league comfortably. So that for me, their next 5 games is crucial. But again, World Cup break, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows could get injured or could happen. Who knows? Even William Saliba at the back, if he gets injured, their season's going to come crumbling down because he's well and truly kept the glue at the back. But they've conceded 11, equal lowest out of any team, along with Newcastle and real quick, I can't remember who. I think it might just be Newcastle. Yep. So yeah, impressive for them. Kudos to them, but I mean, I hate to give them credit just like you do, but they're playing well and they deserve it based on this season. All right, let's get into Unai Emery now. 2-1 result, come from behind, win against Brighton. Talk to me about this game. Puts Villa in a safe, comfortable position.
I think this game was very error-ridden, especially the goals. I think that first goal, I think it personally, I thought that was a foul on Douglas Luiz. It looked like he got the back of his shoulder into the back. But fair play, they played on, they scored. And then a stupid challenge from Lewis Dunk. Don't know what he's trying to do there. You're better off letting John McGinn shoot than giving away a penalty. But the moment I loved best was Douglas Luiz tackled McAllister on the edge of the box and set Danny Ings to score the double. So bit of payback for him in the end, and a very good result for Good Evening.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 2 wins now to start his Premier League career with them. A win against United, followed by a loss against United in the Cup, but then followed by this win. Yeah, kind of gets them back on track, and hopefully they kick on. But Gerrard somewhat started the same as well, so we don't know if that's just a new manager bounce. But a good result for him. Brighton, that first goal was pretty much the same as the way they scored their first against Chelsea just a couple of weeks ago. Like, it was just pouncing, high press, and it forces an error. So whether or not it was a foul, yes, could have been. But yeah, started well, but then they lost it. They come away with 0 points now, and that's poor for them because they're sitting in 7th. I mean, it's a good season for them. With it, they've had their manager taken away, but this new manager comes in and looks pretty much identical, plays pretty much the same formation style. So this is a result they should have got somewhat of at least a draw out of. But fair play for Unai Emery, and yeah, carry on for them. And now let's get into the final game. We've spoken about Ronaldo, but let's get into United now. 2-1 win. Alejandro Garnacho with a 93rd minute winner against Fulham. I mean, talk to me about United right now, I suppose.
They're flying. They're flying under Ten Hag, building good momentum. But I don't know what that Cordova Reed was doing for that last minute. He just looked like he didn't want the ball. He just let Garnacho get there and take that shot.
Yeah.
I thought the headlines were going to be Dan James haunts United. That's what I was praying for. But Garnacho gets all the glory, and United probably deserve the win. But if De Gea wasn't back to his best, this could have easily been a result for Fulham.
Yeah, 100%. Fulham definitely had chances, and I thought when Dan James scored, that was the headline for sure. But Garnacho, look, yeah, like you said, it wasn't good defending in the slightest. I don't know how he let him through there. I think Garnacho was just more determined. Declan Reed didn't even know what was going on. But huge win for United because these are the ones that, yeah, you build momentum on. And look, you said they're flying. I wouldn't say they're flying, but they're definitely in a very comfortable position, and they're doing a lot better than previous managers have. So they're definitely playing for Ten Hag. Ten Hag has been impressive because he's not standing for any nonsense. He's a very stubborn manager and gets his way, and it's working because he's got a good sense of camaraderie in the team, apart from Ronaldo, who's not going to be there much longer, hopefully for his sake and for United's sake. So, yeah, good for them. Fulham, I think they'll be more than happy where they are sitting in the table going into the break. I mean, no wins in 3, but again, they're sitting in 9th spot, top half of the table, mid-season. They 100% will take that. And I think for them, they'll just hope that Mitrovic comes away from the World Cup unscathed, not injured, and can kind of carry on for the season, because a top half finish would be well and truly achievable and very impressive for them, I think.
Especially because they're a yo-yo club generally. No, I think
Exactly.
a lot of people thought they were going down again. So if they can finish top half, that's an amazing result.
Yeah, and I think it's one thing to be able to recruit players when you've just scraped relegation, but to finish top half and, be able to pitch to players, hey, we've come up from the championship, we've got a good top half finish, let's build on that. To throw that pitch to them rather than saying, hey, we just escaped relegation, we need you. It's impressive. You could get some decent players in. And so who knows, Sky could be the limit for Fulham. But yeah, good win for United here. Not bad for Fulham going into the break. It's not a good result, but they'll take it. Campo, thanks for joining me. We're back with Premier League in over a month now, but maybe we'll get some World Cup stuff in there in the meantime, hopefully. But until then, Campo, I'll see you later.
Who's your prediction for the World Cup quickly?
quickly. Look, I'm kind of on they're not going to win the World Cup, but I'm on the Uruguay bandwagon a little bit. I don't like Darwin Núñez too much, but I've got him to win the Golden Boot, as I've told you already. To win the World Cup, I can't really look past Brazil. I think that, like, just all over the park, they're just true. They've got the players. I think Neymar's in for a good tournament. They've got the Jesuses and stuff, but I don't know. I think I'm going to lock in Brazil. Who are you saying?
I'm locking Brazil too, and I think it'll be. I'll go Rogan. I'll say Richarlison Golden Boot.
Okay, all right. Then to counter that, how far is Australia going? What's Australia doing? Are they getting any points?
They'll get a total of 1 point.
Is that coming against Tunisia or Denmark?
Yeah,
it's not coming against France.
All Denmark. Denmark are a powerhouse at the moment. Tunisia, I think, will scrape a 0-0.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely scenes if we even get a point. So kudos to that. Hopefully it happens. And Campo, I'll see you next time. Thanks, mate.